3.
We are ready now to look at learning objective 3 from chapter 9, and it says describe 4 unique elements of services. Well, you know how us marketers love lists, and we especially love lists that all start with the same letter. So these are all going to be called the 4 I's of service, because all of these words will start with the letter I. First one we have is intangibility. Intangibility means we can't see it or touch it or taste it. And so it makes it really hard for us to decide which service is best for us and our particular needs and wants. Once we find a service that is good enough, we tend to not change services. We're very much more loyal to services than we are to goods. Give you an example, it's a big hassle to change banks, for example. You might not be the craziest about your bank, but it's just such a hassle to change your money and have 2 accounts open at one time till everything clears the old bank, and then setting up direct deposit and everything with the new bank. So if it's good enough, we tend to stick with it. Same way with hair cutters and all the other services that we buy. Now, sometimes what we will do is we will ask our friends and neighbors who they use for particular services. This is particularly true if you move to a new city. So some of you, when you graduate, will be moving to a new city, and you may ask your friends, relatives, associates, and neighbors that where do you go to get your hair cut or your dry cleaning done, or who's your veterinarian, or who's the best doc in town, things like that. So we rely a lot upon word of mouth when it comes to intangibility. The other thing that happens is we will sometimes take a tangible part of a service and judge the intangibility with something that's tangible. Let me give you a quick example. If you're at a new doctor's office and you're sitting in the waiting room and you see there are dust bunnies under all the chairs, or as my brother would say, dust buffaloes, because sometimes they get big, you may ask yourself, are the instruments clean here, or is the whole place kind of dirty? So that would be an example of taking something that's tangible and then basing our opinions on the intangible parts of it. Somebody might think a debit card from a particular bank is prettier than from another bank. And again, it has nothing to do really with the services provided by the bank, but it is something tangible that people can judge. All right, our second one is inseparability. Inseparability can be looked at 2 different ways. First of all, there are times when we cannot separate ourselves as customers from a service. Thankfully, I think most of us still have our own teeth, and we just can't drop off our teeth at the dentist and then come back later and pick them up after they've had a cleaning. We have to actually be there for the service. We can't separate ourselves from that particular service. Likewise, the dentist can't separate him or herself from that service. So the person and the service, whether you're the customer or the provider, oftentimes cannot be separated. Now, there are exceptions to that. So like I don't have to be home if somebody's mowing my grass, but the person running the mower has to be there. Our third one that we have is inconsistency. Inconsistency can be either within a person or between people who are providing a service. If it's a single person, we all have good days and bad days, and I'm sure you are seeing that a lot with your professors and the quality of our videos right now. It's all over the board in terms of who's got a great video and who's got a so-so video. So there can be some inconsistency between people, and there can be inconsistency within a person. I used to go to this hair cutter, went to her for many, many years. One day I got there, and she was on the phone with her husband having a big argument, and then she slams the phone down and says, okay, let's cut your hair. I got the shortest haircut of my life when that happened. So she was very inconsistent that day. So again, it can be within a person or it can be between different people providing a service. Our final one that we have is inventory. Services, whoop. Okay, services, speaking of inconsistency, there we go. Services cannot be inventoried. You can't save up services. Once the time period for a service is gone, it's gone. So if we had a plane that took off from the Louisville airport going to Chicago and there's an empty seat, it's not like we can have two people sitting in that seat the next time it takes off for Chicago. So once that time period is gone, it is just gone. So here's our 4 I's of services, and we'll be back with Learning Objective 4 in just a minute.